In a cave, deep inside, in a world separate of reality, a man was telling a woman to leave him alone. But she kept reaching for the paste inside his mortar. She then said that she eats candy. Having enough, he pushed her away. There were multiple people in this place that were preparing a paste with their own mortar and pestle. The man, Li Huo Wong, stated that it's not candy. It's medicinal paste. But looking at her, he realized that she doesn't understand. Her mind wasn't in the right place. Looking around, everyone looked like a freak. The place was full with crazy, fools, disabled and monsters. He was wondering why is he also in this place. He then heard something. It was a man telling someone else that he wants to play with them. The aggressor was saying that he will play for only a bit and the woman was trying to resist. Everyone else was laughing, just like they were enjoying a show. The laughs were drowning the woman's cry and attempts to resist. The protagonist was thinking that this is all fake, just an illusion. Nothing is real. Everything is fake. Fake, 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 fake. Everything is fake. He then drove his pestle into the aggressor's head, pushing him away, while continuously repeating in his head that all of this is just a fabrication of his own mind. The aggressor fell to the ground, bleeding from his head, and the white-haired woman moved behind her savior. The human trash started to scream that the protagonist is dead, because the master will never let this slide. He will be killed. And Li Huo Wong answered that the master is insignificant. Who does he think he is? The aggressor, in disbelief, asked how dares he insult the master. Then, something grabbed everyone's attention. It was a pair of steps coming towards them. The guest asked if they are done arguing. He then asked for Disciple Li and Disciple Wong, because the master wants them to come over. The two disciples were surprised by the announcement, and the human trash was happy, saying that the protagonist is done. Today it's his turn. Li Huo Wong didn't know what that meant, or if it has anything to do with what just happened. From behind, someone grabbed him. It was the white-haired woman, telling him to not go. He moved away from her, and started to follow the guest, together with Disciple Wong, who was still talking about candy. The three left the chamber, where everybody else was in, leaving the girl watching them in silence. They got out of the cave, and were outside in the daylight. The protagonist was wondering what happened with him, because he doesn't get angry easily. His personality makes him more reserved. It's not like him to garner attention. He cannot afford to let his personality get affected by what is happening here. It's obvious that he wasn't being himself. Better to calm down. He got touched again, more intently this time. The protagonist asked her what the hell is she doing. She then stretched her hand and asked if he wants some candy. At first, he hesitated, but he took the medicinal paste she was calling candy. She then smiled and stated that their master is great, because he gives them candy. As they were walking, the atmosphere started to change. They got past a giant cauldron, where a weird substance was being boiled. Then they noticed a man using a big mortar and pestle to create the same medicinal paste. Disciple Wong bowed and called the man in front of them, Master. He stated that they are finally here, his precious disciples, but they surely kept him waiting. Then, in an instant, he jumped in the air and landed behind the two disciples, who had no time to react. He then grabbed the woman from her neck and threw her in the mortar with only one hand. He then started laughing and jumped back in the mortar and grabbed his pestle while chanting a song. The woman asked if she's in sugar syrup, then declared that the master is the best. The same master crushed her with the giant pestle, turning her into paste. He then screamed to fire up the cauldron, because they have pills to condense. The protagonist was frozen after seeing what just happened. How easily the life of a person was just ended. Two creepy-looking persons took the mortar with the paste and started pouring it into the giant cauldron, which was being heated up. Li Huo Wong was repeating in his head that this is fake, the smell is fake, all is fake. The master stated that he heard that the protagonist called him insignificant, then asked if is there any truth to that statement. This is fake. The voice is fake. It's not real. The master demanded the man to speak. Did the cat get his tongue? Fake. All is fake. 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 All is fake. This is fake. It became quiet all of a sudden. Li Huong then opened his eyes, and it was a completely different view compared to what he saw before. He was restrained in bed, with beeping medical devices all around him. That's when he realized that everything was indeed all fake, and this is real. The doctor asked Li how is he feeling about the illusions. Is there something new? And he answered that it's the same environment, and he is doing the same thing. He then wanted to say something, and avoided to continue, and the doctor asked him to continue what he wanted to say. The protagonist asked if he talked about Disciple Wong, then continued saying that the bald guy everyone calls Master killed this Disciple Wong, and then used her body to refine pills. The doctor was listening and taking notes on his tablet. Li Huong asked Dr. Li if the stuff he is seeing means something. Is there any meaning behind the illusions? The doctor answered that there is no meaning and the patient shouldn't care about such things. He should be concerned about the length of each illusion, as well as the mental stability. He then added that the protagonist is free of persistent hallucinations, and must remember that what is he seeing is not real, and to not get caught up in it again. Also, before leaving, he added that the patient needs to act according to the plot inside the illusions. That's the only way to get discharged from the hospital as soon as possible. A woman then entered the room and asked Li if he heard that. The protagonist was still caught in the doctor's words when he noticed her. It was Yong Na, his childhood sweetheart, saying that he needs to listen to the doctor obediently. When he saw her, his entire face lit up while saying her nickname, Nana. She came closer and sat next to the bed. Seeing her here brought a lot of happiness to Li. So much happiness that he couldn't control his excitement, and she called his smile ugly. She then continued saying that she brought something. It was the review materials personally assigned by the teachers. Not excited to see that he has school assignments. Asked her if she is trying to take revenge on something that he did. Hearing that, she hit his head with the book while saying that it's not the case. But she had something else to give him, a handheld game console, so he can entertain himself in this boring place. Seeing it, he jumped to grab it, but she had a condition. She wanted him to call her big sister. After he got close to her, he said the word she wanted to hear, sister. He then grabbed the console and happily announced that she is indeed his sister, and then said that she has no idea how boring it is to stay in a mental hospital. Even if he is not crazy, it's still suffocating. Nana said that he should play just a little and concentrate on his homework, and also to not forget his promise. He then turned towards her and stated that he remembers the promise. They agreed to go together to the same collage. He then warmly hugged her and promised that he will recover and leave this place. She hugged him back and told him to get well, because she wait for him. The protagonist said that it's getting late and proposed to walk her to the gate of the hospital. He got up, but something was feeling weird. His head started to hurt and illusions started to show up. The mortar and pestle appeared in reality. This cannot be happening. Nana asked if he is alright and what is happening with him. He was thinking that he followed the doctor's orders for the past few days, and this shouldn't have happened. Then, all of a sudden, the feeling was gone. He covered the fact that something was wrong by saying that it's a prank so Nana doesn't worry. But she got upset and stated that he is acting like a child, and then left, leaving the protagonist behind. He looked again at the table where he saw the mortar and pestle, and was wondering if maybe he just imagined it. He then rushed to catch up with his friend, asking her to wait for him. But something was still not completely right. Outside of the hospital, he was begging her to not be angry at him. He only wanted to make a joke, to make her laugh. But outside, the illusions seemed to follow him. He kept begging her to not be mad and leave without making up. Nana stopped, and he was wondering for how long is she going to ignore him for. She then turned around and tapped her finger on his cheek. Also said that she will come back next week, so he should take care of himself. He promised to do so. They said goodbye, and she left the hospital. While returning to his room, he was thinking that he definitely saw the mortar and pestle. Is it possible that his condition is becoming worse? If his condition will not improve, he won't be able to leave the hospital before the college entrance exams, and that will ruin his promise of entering university together with Yong-na. But Dr. Lee should be the best. He's the best doctor his dad could find. This entire situation was annoying and frustrating. He then felt something. There was something in his shirt's pocket, but he put nothing there. When he took it out, he couldn't believe it. It was the candy syrup he received from Disciple Wong. How could it be that the things from the hallucination appear in reality? This is something that he needs to immediately tell Dr. Lee. But then, he got an idea. If it's real, then there are other things he could bring from the hallucinations. This is an amazing opportunity. Back into the hallucination, Lee Hyo-wong was asking everyone if they have any money. He then said that gold, silver and jade pendants are also good. They have no use in this place, so he just want to borrow them for a while. The other disciples didn't answer to his call and mostly ignored him. The protagonist was thinking that it's highly unlikely that these druggies have any money. But then, he heard someone calling for his name. It was the white-haired woman, who asked him to come with her for a moment. He followed her, and then asked what does she want. She took off what seemed to be an ankle bracelet, and then presented it to him. She then asked if it's good enough. Lee Hyo-wong took it without hesitation, and was thinking that it's a little thin, but quite heavy. It's still made out of gold after all. He then stated that it's what he was looking for, and that he will borrow it for a little and return it later. As thanks, he gave her the candy, saying that it's sweet and edible. She thanked him for it. There were some men watching the two, hoping that something fun would unfold, but they were disappointed. A higher-ranked disciple showed up and asked everyone what are they doing. He then told everyone to go back to work. Everyone left and only the protagonist and the white-haired woman were left. The high-ranked disciple then noticed Lee Hyo-wong and told him that it's unfortunate that the master couldn't have used him as a medicinal ingredient. The protagonist didn't answer, but he remembered that this man's name is Jwon-yong. He then also told Lee to go back to work, otherwise the master will skin him alive. But the protagonist noticed something of interest for him, the jade pendant, which looked like an antique. It looked great, and soon is going to be his. In the dead of night, the protagonist was exiting Jwon-yong abode. He wasn't thinking that it would be this easy, especially because Jwon is not at home. If he can take this and sell it in the real world, he will be able to afford his and Nana's tuition fees. He was really happy about the item, happy enough to be singing about the jade pendant. But then, he noticed some bright lights in front of him. He asked if is there anyone there. Then, from behind, someone asked what is he doing here at this hour. Lee Hyo-wong got scared and asked Jwon-yong, what is he doing here, especially dressed in medicine servant's clothes. The disciple answered that the protagonist is very lucky. He then grabbed Lee and said that they are escaping from this wretched place. They already dealt with the guard. The protagonist asked surprised if they were planning to run away. He then got hit in the face, and Jwon-yong said that if he doesn't come with them, then he dies. There is no way that they are leaving him, so that he cannot tip the master off about their departure. Lee was thinking that this plot twist is really annoying, but he can just return to the hospital. After all, what can a bunch of NPCs do to him in his own hallucination? He opened his eyes and noticed that he's back in the hospital. And as expected, he's still bound into the bed. This late, the nurses are all asleep, so there is no way to check if the jade pendant and gold anklet were transported with him. He will have to return back to the illusion world and check the precious items later. He returned and noticed that everyone was gone. They seemed to have left already. He was thinking that this is his own hallucination, so nothing can hurt him. Early in the morning, someone was screaming for everybody to wake up immediately. The master had ordered everyone to gather at the Hawaiian Hall. Everybody was wondering what is going on, but they didn't want to upset the master, so they were following the order. Everyone had gathered at the Hawaiian Hall. The master expressed his satisfaction that everyone gathered as ordered. Li Huo was wondering what is the old geezer up to now. The old man announced that last night, some people tried to run away, and among them, there were also 2 of his most trusted disciples. This made him extremely upset. The rules of the Shishon Donghua sect are clear. Rewards for merit and punishment for transgressions. The protagonist was surprised that they were caught already, kind of pathetic. The master raised everyone into the air, and opened a hole into the ground, where he lowered the prisoners. Li Huo was repeating in his mind that everything is a hallucination created by himself. Then, a horrendous scream was heard from inside the hole. The protagonist was trying to encourage himself, because he has nothing to be afraid. At the same time, a tentacle passed fast beside him, and impaled a man that was standing next to him. Li Huo was wondering if this is something that he created in the hallucination, but it cannot be. The things from hallucinations were never able to hurt him. This has never happened before. The master had all the tentacles behind him, and declared that everyone who has any evil intentions will have to remember what happened here today. Helping someone become an immortal is a great merit. So, when he will ascend to immortality, he won't forget all their kindness. He then looked at the protagonist and asked him why didn't he leave when the traitors asked him to go with them. But Li didn't answer, and was thinking that it's all an illusion. The master and all the others are illusions, just a figment of his imagination. There is no reason to be afraid. The master then said that it's good, the protagonist is pretty good. So from today, he will become the official disciple, because he is quite talented, and his new job is to manage the supply room. Li Huo, hearing the words, official disciple and managing supply room, was wondering if this means that he was elevated to a higher position. But that can't be true. It's just because too many people died and he needs some more help. The master then said that the protagonist needs a Taoist name. Since he is now an official disciple, we'll have to find him a name. So from now on, Li Huo's Taoist name will be Zhuanyong. The protagonist was thinking that it's funny how the previous Zhuanyong died, and now he is the new Zhuanyong. The master then gave him a pouch with 5 immortal elixir pills he personally refined. Consuming them will add 10 years to the protagonist's life, and will also provide a boost in strength to save his life. Then said in a loud voice that going against him is a dead end, but everyone that helps him will be rewarded. Li, looking at the pills, was wondering if they were refined using a human. Sometime later, back to the reality, the protagonist was surprised by the fact that he managed to bring everything with him. The next step is to verify the authenticity of the jade pendant and gold bracelet. If the precious items are real, then will the pills have an effect? He wanted to try one of them, when Nana bursted into the room. She stated that this better be important because she skipped her class to come here after he called. If it's a prank, she will be pissed. The protagonist checked his surroundings, closed the door and pulled the curtain on the window. Nana misunderstood and asked what is he doing. Doesn't he know that the nurses can still hear them? Trough the speaker. The nurse said that it's all right, they cannot hear. Li then gave Nana something, and told the nurse to stop being nosy and find something else to do. Looking at the jade pendant, the girl asked what is it, and Li told her to not make a sound and listen to him. He then said something that only she was able to hear. A few days later, The protagonist was thinking that everyone, including his parents, don't believe him. They all believe that he is crazy. But Nana is his only savior, the only one that is willing to listen to him. The protagonist was announced through the speaker that his girlfriend is here back again to visit him. Hearing this, he became happy to hear that Nana came back. He wanted to go outside to meet her, thinking that she's back, just as he thought. On the hallway he encountered the security guards. He recognized one of them, Mr. Zhao, and asked him what is going on. The security guard answered that Li should go back inside and close his door. Then added that old Liu is sneaking around spreading out his medicine again, so if he sees him, he should report immediately. The protagonist was wondering how such an old and frail man like old Liu escaped from the critical care ward. But this is none of his business. He needs to see Nana, outside. In the courtyard of the hospital, Nana was informing Li Huo-Wong that she had someone appraise the jade pendant and the gold bracelet. And the result is that the jade pendant is an authentic antique, and its estimated value is around $55,000, and the bracelet is made out of real gold. The protagonist stated that he knew it. He knew that it would be like this. That settles it. He's not crazy. He started laughing and picked up Nana, saying that he is not crazy. A bit later, he was saying that this is an ability, and it's real. Maybe he shouldn't get cured quickly. He then asked her if she's ready to become rich. She also asked, what is he talking about? All this becoming rich thing sounds like nonsense. She then continued saying that she doesn't want money. The most important thing is for him to become healthy. She then asked him to promise that he will continue his treatment and won't stop taking the medicine. He agreed and said that he promises that. The next moment, Nana was taken by someone and forced to the ground. It was the old Liu. The protagonist started to scream that she is his friend, so the old man should just leave her alone. But Li was hit in the head by a rock and fell to the ground. He was in a pool of blood, repeating "stop it" over and over again. He then remembered what the master said about the pills. If he takes one, he will get a boost in strength. Nana was on the ground crying and asking Li if he is alright. She then saw him eating something, and everything immediately changed. He felt like a different person. His speed was something else. Old Liu had no time to react. The protagonist grabbed the crazed man from the head and threw him onto the ground. He then screamed that he already told him to stop. Didn't he heard him saying it? The protagonist was chained up in the dangerous patient confinement room and screamed to be let go. He was only fighting back to protect himself and Nana. Old Liu was the first to attack Yong Na and himself, so he had to protect her. The doctor said that it wasn't fighting back, it was payback. Then asked how was he able to hurt the old man that much, because that is not something that just anyone can do. The protagonist was avoiding to answer the question, and the doctor continued saying that he should be careful what he says, because he hates it the most when patients lie. Li Huo-Wong was thinking about what he can do, because he cannot say anything about the elixir. He then decided to close his eyes, and Dr. Li was trying to get his attention, asking if he is listening. He woke up in the other world. He was thinking that there is no need to deal with that for now. Waking up here also a solution. Sometime later, the master was holding a lecture about Tao for his disciples. He then said that Zhuanyong just joined their Qingfeng temple, so there is a lot that he doesn't understand. He asked another disciple to teach the protagonist, who agreed. The master announced that it's past 9, so there is nothing else to do, so they should have dinner. Li noticed that there was a man glaring at him, and was wondering who is he to keep looking at him like that. The other official disciple, Zhuanyuan, was explaining that the man next to the master was senior brother Jenkin, the only remaining inner disciple after the other tried to run away. He then told the protagonist that he should show respect to everyone that he meets inside the temple, because senior brother Jenkin can be really petty. Li said that he just became a disciple. What else he should know? It would be great if his brother disciple can clarify everything for him. Zhuan Yuan said that even if the protagonist became a disciple, he's only managing the supply room, so he has a long way until he learns the ways of immortality. Li was surprised to hear about ways of immortality. He became excited and asked if the master can really teach him how to become an immortal. Zhuan Yuan answered that master's powers are indeed impressive, but the way to become an immortal is probably reserved only for inner disciples, like senior brother Jenkin. The protagonist was thinking that he can learn many things from this place, but he has to try and get more money from this place. The master and the main disciples were at the Qingfeng temple, in the alchemy room. The cauldron opened, and a bright light was coming out of it. Then, the bright light separated into multiple smaller ones. They looked like elixir pills. The master used a vase to gather all of them, while saying that it's a good batch. The protagonist was thinking that he was only focused on money. His perspective was too small. If he could bring this ability in real life, his life would change completely. The master called for Zhuan Yong, and he was thinking that this job can be a good opportunity to prove his worth. He then asked how can he be of use. The master said that the protagonist is in charge of the supply room, so he should go and get the herbal primer called by Ling Miao. While he was thinking about the herb he needs to get, a lot of memories came back into his head, distracting him. The master was screaming at him to pay attention to what is he saying. And Li Huo Wong, thinking that he has no other choice, closed his eyes and tried to wake up. After opening his eyes, he noticed that his mother and the doctor were in his room. The first thing he asked was why the doctor is here. The mother asked what happened to his head. Does it hurt? Li answered that it doesn't hurt, he's fine. The mother said that he lost weight, and asked if the hospital food is that bad. She then grabbed out his favorite grapes and offered to feed them to him. He refused, because he wants to talk and spend time with her, as she doesn't come often. His mother respected his wish and said that she's grateful that he woke up, because the doctor was about to take her meet the family of the old man. Dr. Li said that they should go now meet with Mr. Liu's family, because they have been waiting for long. And the mother answered that she knows, but wants to say one more thing to her son. The protagonist added that he only fought back, and it was old Liu who attacked first. She answered that the doctor told her everything that happened, so the son shouldn't worry, because his mother has his back. Li got emotional hearing those words. The mother said that he should listen to the doctor and take his medicine. While leaving, the protagonist called for his mother one more time, and she left with determination in her eyes. Li Huo Wong was thinking that his mother will scold the entire family of Mr. Liu, but he started to feel weird. His consciousness started to shift to the other side. Because his mother came, he forgot to think of a strategy to deal with the bald master. The doctor said that now they can continue their conversation, and the protagonist was thinking that they will continue next time. The master asked if he is awake, and he immediately answered that yes, he is awake. While wondering if the pill refining has ended, the master grabbed him by his chin and said that he should open his mouth now that he is awake, then shoved something in his mouth. The protagonist was asking himself, what is the old man trying to do again, making him swallow something like this? Then the master said that if his disciple doesn't open his mouth wide open, he won't be able to swallow the black Teisui. Thank you for watching the first part of the series, The Path of Weird Immortals. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, because it will help me a lot. Let me know in the comments, which one do you think that is the real world, and why? Goodbye.